Hello everyone. This is my first ever YouTube video, and it's about how to get a software engineering job in 2024. So for a little bit of background, my name is Shamar. I live in Jamaica, and I've been a software engineer for since 2021. And I just want to share four tips exactly about what I did to land my first ever software engineering job back in 2021. I'm completely self-taught, no boot camp, no college. I took one course on JavaScript and everything else I learned from YouTube. Like everything else was strictly YouTube videos and maybe one or two blog posts. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first tip that I did and that I recommend other persons to if they want to stand out in this job market and land their first ever dev job is to build unique projects. A lot of times I see a lot of junior devs when they're trying to, build their portfolio, they tend to lean towards projects that have video tutorials on YouTube. And while nothing is wrong with building projects from video tutorials, what you have to realize is that there's hundreds, if not thousands of other people also building that exact same project. So when you're putting that project on your portfolio, there's a high possibility that the hiring manager or whoever is looking at your portfolio will have already seen those projects, because if they're being watched by thousands of people across the world, sometimes hundreds of thousands, your project doesn't stand out. So you're building another Twitter clone or another Gmail clone or another Netflix clone or a YouTube clone. So they would have already seen projects like this. So it doesn't really stand out. It's like, okay, I've seen this before. I know they know it's from a tutorial. So it's not really demonstrating your coding skills, because they know that, you just watched the video, you followed along and you coded the project that someone else did. So my advice again, find something you love. Find a topic that you love and build something around that project. For me, that was movies. I love movies. I love watching movies and TV shows. So I built a product, or I built a web app that allowed users to, watch their favorite TV shows. They could also download different movies and TV shows. Um, So that was my unique project that I built. And that project got me so many interviews with companies like Docker and Manual, which is a healthcare company based in the UK. Remember, I'm from Jamaica, so getting interviews with companies like Docker and another company based in the UK was a big deal at the time. So yeah. I'm gonna show you guys the project in a couple of minutes, but that's my first tip. My second tip is learn basic UI UX design. Now, I know what you guys are going to say. You know, most engineers are not good designers. They want to focus completely on the code, especially if they're backend. I'm full stack, but I'm primarily focused on the front end. And the reason why I say to learn basic UI UX is, if you're just getting your first dev job, right? There's a high possibility that you're going to be working in a small team, like a pretty small team, maybe 5 people, or in a startup environment. And if you know how to juggle multiple things, you can code and you can design, that'll make you look more appealing to your potential employer, because they're looking at, okay, you can code and you can design. So maybe I can hire you to do both. And I know a lot of people don't want to do both, but remember, this is your first job. You're just trying to break into the industry. You're just trying to get your foot through the door. And most employers honestly are willing to pay you extra, because instead of paying like a basic intern salary or a basic junior developer salary, they'll probably pay you a little extra if you have at least a little basic UI UX design knowledge and can help the designer. If they have a designer, you can also help that designer to translate the knowledge from the front end to the design, because it does come in handy. I have a background in design. I was a designer for like 8 years before I transitioned over to web development and programming. So it did help me because most of the projects on my portfolio I designed from scratch, completely from scratch. So that definitely helped me get my foot in the door, because I remember when I would do interviews and the interviewer would look at my portfolio, they would be like, "Oh, this is a nice portfolio, did you design this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I actually designed it from scratch. I have experience as a designer." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's good." So, they like those things. They like if you have multiple skill sets. And there will be some companies that try to take advantage of that. But again, you're trying to get your foot in the door. And, if you get a job as a junior or intern developer and they're asking you to do a bunch of design along with the coding, that may not be something that you want to do. But you can stick with it if you want, gain that knowledge and experience, and then like dip from that job in like a 1 or 2 years. And getting your second job after that would probably be a lot easier because again, you have experience. So the first job is always the hardest, and these tips are pretty much for people trying to get their first job. And so with that, we move into the third tip. And the third tip is to share your work on social media, specifically Twitter/X. And guys, let me tell you how important this tip is. This tip got me my first job. Sharing my work on social media is what led me to get my first job, because when I was learning how to code, I would be building a bunch of projects and I realized that I didn't have anyone to share them with, anyone to critique my work. So I would build my projects, I would upload them to my portfolio, and then I would apply for jobs. And then I realized I wasn't getting any feedback. I wasn't getting, not even rejection emails. I wasn't getting any responses from any of the companies that I sent out my my applications to. So what I started to do was I went on Twitter, specifically tech Twitter, and I just started to follow a bunch of random people within the tech Twitter space, the web development space. And then whenever I would start a new project, I would be like, okay, day one, I'm going to build a Twitter clone. And then I would write a tweet detailing what I did on day one and post a couple screenshots or mini video clips of me writing code and testing it. And then day two, I would do the same thing. Day three. So I'll basically create like a roadmap of me building my project from start to finish. And eventually people started to take notice. And what happened was someone from my country who was at the time a senior developer saw my Twitter page and saw me, detailing all of the projects that I was building at the time. And he clicked on my resume. Sorry, no, he clicked on my portfolio, used one of my projects, and then hit me up and be like, "Yo, love this project that you've built. I think you would be a great fit for our team. How would you feel if I sent this to my CTO so he can review it and see if it'd be a match?" And I'm like, "Yo, thank you. That sounds awesome." So that's what he did. Sent it to his CTO. CTO loved it. Hit me up. And within like the following week, I was offered a job. And that's how I landed my first job, by sharing my work on social media and getting a referral, basically, because a referral will be like 90% of the time, a referral is how you will get your first job and second job and probably your third job, because in this industry, it's who you know. If you can go out, create connections, network with people on social media. And I know a lot of programmers are introverts, me included, don't like to talk to people, but it does help. It really does help if you put yourself and your work out there for people to see, for people to critique, get eyes on it. You know, someone might love the work you're doing and they will offer you a job, or they will put you with someone who could get your foot in the door. It happens. It mostly will happen that way for you to get your first job instead of cold applying to the jobs that you see online. And my final tip is learn Git. Learn version control. I'm not saying you guys should go all in and learn Git, because even 3-4 years in, I don't know that much of Git. I only know like a little bit, but I know enough to get my way around, move my way around the terminal and get basic or even some intermediate things done. And the reason why you want to learn Git is because when you get your first job, they're going to be using Git to manage their files, the code. And you want to be able to join, hit the ground running. You know, you want to be able to clone the code base, pull any commits that you need. And if you need to rebase against main, you need to know how to do that. And just the basic stuff like that. So learning Git on the job is definitely possible. That's what I did. But I know that I would have saved myself so much time if I had known basic Git commands like rebasing and bisect before I landed my first job. So learn Git. It will save you a bunch of time and it will make you more efficient, because efficient in the sense that you may be given a take-home assignment from an interview that involves pulling code from a remote code base, rebasing against main, cherry picking certain commits and stuff like that. I've gotten take-home assignments that involved just Git. There was no code involved. The take-home assignment was pretty much to pull files from Git, rebase, cherry pick certain commits, and then push back those commits back to a different branch. At that time, I had no idea what to do because I had no knowledge of Git besides pulling and cloning. No rebasing, nothing. So learn some semi-advanced concepts of Git, and trust me, it will put you ahead of 90% of other applicants that are trying to get their jobs in 2024. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope these tips help you just like how they helped me. And yeah, if there's anything else you guys want to know, you guys can just hit me up, leave a comment, hit me up on social media. I'm going to leave my links down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.